do want to touch on the Zach Eflin because we haven't really talked about the Zach Eflin. Like, I know I hopped on with Ryan, which was actually funny. I was literally walking out of my door, and I knew Ryan was on the stream, and I was like, oh, Zach Eflin just got traded. I was like, I can't miss this. So I just canceled my Uber, and I went back up. I went upstairs and hopped on and called a new one so I could do it. But let's I love this move. I hate losing Baumeister. I hate losing Horvath. I hate losing Etzel. That's 3 very, very talented young players. But you have to give talent to get talent. They were not untouchables. They were not guys that I saw as needle movers. And when you look at it, Etzel and Horvath, where's the path? Even if they become great everyday MLB players, which I think they all have potential to, even Baumeister as a pitcher, there was very little path for in the Orioles organization for them to make any impact, meaning as on an everyday level. We already have such a log jam at so many positions where they're using it. We talk about the log jam at third base, of shortstop and outfield. They didn't trade for many of their big names, and they still got a guy that, in a lot of ways, people, when you looked online, were hype about the Eflin thing. And I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about media. I'm talking about the ESPN writers, the analysts. They were raving over this move for Eflin because he's a guy that, when you go out there, and Hyde actually just commented on this, he said the most important thing about him is his heart rate is low at all times. He said in the big moment, no matter what it is, Zach Eflin's pitching some pretty damn big games. This guy, I think he has 10 appearances in the playoffs. This is, and Kevin, he's under contract for next year. $18 million. Yeah. And what the Orioles said, Kevin, we'll eat all 18. Because we could have done the usual where we eat part of it, the Rays eat half, and we have to throw in another prospect. These ain't your daddy's Orioles anymore. Rubenstein said no. And it was the comment a few days ago about Rubenstein saying, whatever Mike Elias thinks fit, we will discuss. And Elias said, hey, if we eat this contract, we will give up a whole lot less. We will give up a whole lot less for this man. And they said, let's do it. So now, at least next year, you now have Grayson, you have Eflin, you have Dean Kramer under contract, healthy.
Yeah.
And they have Chase McDermott and Cade Povich still. Obviously, you want Burns back. Obviously, Tyler Wells comes back eventually. Kyle Bradish comes back eventually. But they're starting to build next year's rotation as well. And that's why I would love, man, if they had Eric Fetty, and you can also have Eric Fetty, Zach Eflin, Grayson, and Kramer as 4 guys automatically there to start your season, it's good. So
yeah, that's exactly what I said. I think you had hopped off already, but I said, like, if you have a top 4 of Burns, Rodriguez, Eflin, Fetty, and then you have Kramer as your 5, I feel so much more confident in that rotation than I do, at the start of this whole thing. And that's why, again, Tuesday's going to be big because we don't know what else is coming for this Orioles team, right? Do they get a bat? Do they get another starter, get another bullpen arm? What combination of that are they going to do? So kind of figuring out, but yes, having Grayson and having Eflin and Kramer under contract, because there is so much uncertainty with this rotation, with the elephant in the room being Corbin Burns. But to me, you give up 3 prospects that it hurts, right? You got to give up something to get something. You said that, right? And I feel like a lot of people are saying that, Etzel is like the Rays type of prospect. Like, these are the types of guys they love. It's kind of like those Etzel.
Exactly.
Aviator, how do you feel about the order?
How would you order this rotation? Exactly like this: Burns, G-Rod, Fetty, Eflin, Kramer.
Yeah, the only question would be, some people might want Eflin 3, Kramer 4. Or, sorry, Eflin 3, Fetty 4, excuse me. But
would you be worried about Fetty goes back to his days as a national? No, because Eric Fetty got rid of his worst pitch. I believe his curveball, I believe, was his worst pitch. Got rid of it completely, started using his changeup more, changed his grip a little bit, and then also added I believe, a slurve more. So more of a slurve instead of the curve. And it's become one of his biggest out pitches. So he's just a completely different pitcher from then. So I'm not worried about him returning to that just because there was one pitch he was getting just raked on and he got rid of it. He literally said, I'm not throwing this pitch anymore, started using his changeup more. And now here's kind of that. So I'm not too concerned about that part.
No, and Ryan did a great breakdown on him as well. So if you want to go check out Ryan's breakdown, he explained all of that. And to me, I think that he's a guy that not a lot of people are talking about for some reason, and not a lot of people want to acquire him for some reason. I feel like the talk around Eric Fetty has been kind of low compared to guys like a Crochet and, you know, even others. Like I've seen more about Severino than I have about Fetty. Like it's kind of that situation where it's like, why, especially if you don't have to give up one of these guys. But here's the thing. If you want a Scooble, if you want one of these top level guys, you have to give up Basayo, Mayo, Jackson type player, right? You want a star, you got to give up really good prospects. If you want to go more on the lower level side of things, you don't have to give up one of those guys. But it's a matter of balance and what the Orioles feel like they can do this season and what they